Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a young woman named Abigail. Abigail was the only child of a wealthy farmer, and her life was filled with joy and laughter. Her father adored her, and her mother was the heart of their home. They shared many happy moments together, playing in the fields, telling stories under the stars, and enjoying simple meals with love and laughter. Abigail's mother would often bake sweet bread, filling the house with its warm aroma, while her father played his flute, making Abigail dance with joy. It was a time of love, peace, and contentment. But when Abigail was just 10 years old, her mother fell ill and passed away. The warmth and happiness that once filled their home seemed to vanish overnight. Abigail's father tried his best to keep her happy, but the emptiness left by her mother's absence was hard to ignore. Life became quiet, and though her father's love never wavered, Abigail felt a sadness that she couldn't shake. After a few years, Abigail's father remarried a woman named Patricia, hoping to bring some joy back into their lives. Patricia was beautiful, but she was not kind. She had a daughter from her previous marriage named Lillian. Patricia loved Lillian dearly, as she had not been able to have any more children after her first marriage. Lillian was Patricia's pride and joy, and she often showered her with affection. Abigail's father continued to shower his daughter with love, but his health began to fail, and he soon passed away, leaving Abigail at the mercy of her stepmother. When Abigail's father fell ill and passed away suddenly, everything changed. Patricia saw Abigail as nothing more than a burden. Patricia's jealousy of Abigail's beauty and the affection her father had shown her turned into resentment. She began to treat Abigail like a servant, making her do all the chores and giving her the smallest room in the house. Meanwhile, Lillian wore the finest clothes and went to the best schools, while Abigail was forced to wear hand-me-downs and was rarely allowed to leave the house. Lillian, like her mother, also treated Abigail harshly. She often mocks her and always makes her work difficult in the house. Despite this, Abigail remained kind-hearted and gentle, holding on to the hope that one day things would change. When Abigail turned 20, Patricia decided it was time for her to marry. But instead of finding a suitable match, Patricia chose a poor man named Uche. Uche was a humble wheelbarrow pusher who worked in the market, carrying goods for people from the market to their homes. He was a man of few words with a small, run-down house. Although he was kind and hardworking, he was not the type of suitor that most girls in Abigail's position would dream of. Patricia saw Uche as the perfect way to rid herself of Abigail. She arranged the marriage without consulting Abigail and presented it to her as a done deal. "You should be grateful, Abigail," Patricia said with a smirk. "Uche is the best you can hope for. After all, who would want a girl like you?" Abigail's heart was heavy. She had dreamed of marrying a man who loved her, someone who would cherish her as her father had. But she felt trapped and alone, with no choice but to obey her stepmother. The wedding was a modest affair with few guests and no celebrations. Patricia made sure it was nothing like the grand wedding she had planned for her own daughter, Lillian. Abigail moved into Uche's small house, feeling like her life had taken a turn for the worse. Meanwhile, Patricia congratulated herself. Now that Abigail is married to a poor man, she thought, she'll never live a comfortable life. I've finally gotten rid of her. Patricia turned to Lillian and said, "Now that Abigail is out of the way, everything is ours. You will marry a wealthy man, and we will secure our future." Lillian, confident and proud, agreed, believing her mother's plans would ensure their happiness. But as the days turned into weeks, Abigail began to see a different side of Uche. He was gentle and caring, always making sure she was comfortable and well-fed. He worked tirelessly at the market, and although they had little, he always found a way to make her smile. Abigail started to realize that wealth and luxury were not the most important things in life. She had found something far more valuable: love and respect. Uche, too, was amazed by Abigail. Despite the hardships, she never complained and always carried herself with grace. She takes very good care of their home while he works hard at the market. While Abigail was finding happiness in her humble life, things were not going as smoothly for Lillian. Patricia had arranged for Lillian to marry a wealthy man called Michael, hoping to elevate their status. But after their wedding ceremony, Michael started showing his true colors. He was arrogant and dismissive, often ignoring Lillian and treating her with disdain. Michael sometimes even belittles her in front of others. Despite the wealth and luxury that came with the marriage, Lillian found herself feeling lonely and unhappy. She realized that her mother's ambition had led her into a life where she was valued more for her beauty and her family's wealth than for who she truly was. One day, as Uche was pushing his wheelbarrow through the market, he stumbled upon a bag lying in the corner. Curious, he picked it up and looked inside. The bag contained a huge sum of money and some important-looking documents. Realizing that someone must have lost it, Uche immediately began searching for the owner. He asked around the market, showing the bag to the vendors and customers, but no one recognized it. Determined to find the owner, Uche did not give up. After a long search, he finally found the man who had lost the bag. The man was frantic, searching every corner of the market, clearly distressed. Uche approached him and asked if he had lost something. The man described the bag exactly, and Uche handed it over. The man's eyes widened in disbelief. "You found it," he exclaimed. "I thought I had lost everything. This bag has important documents for a contract worth a lot of money. I can't believe you returned it." The stranger, who introduced himself as Mr. Bayo, was a successful businessman who had come to the village for a project. He was amazed by Uche's honesty and integrity. As a token of his gratitude, he offered Uche a job at his company in the city. "A man as honest as you deserves a better opportunity," Mr. Bayo said. "Come work for me, and I will make sure you have a bright future." Uche was overwhelmed by the offer. He discussed it with Abigail, and they both agreed that it was a chance to change their lives for the better. Soon, Uche and Abigail moved to the city. Uche worked hard in his new job, quickly earning the respect and admiration of his colleagues and superiors. With his hard work and the support of Mr. Bayo, Uche rose through the ranks and eventually became a manager in the company. Abigail and Uche's lives changed dramatically. They moved into a big house in the city and bought a car. They were no longer the poor couple struggling to make ends meet. Instead, they were respected members of the community, known for their kindness and generosity. Meanwhile, back in the village, Patricia and Lillian watched with envy as news of Abigail and Uche's success reached them. Patricia, who had once looked down on Uche, now realized the mistake she had made. She regretted her cruelty, but it was too late. Abigail had found happiness, not through wealth or status, but through love, honesty, and hard work. Patricia, who had once been so full of pride and ambition, lived out her days in quiet reflection, regretting the choices she had made. Lillian, too, felt a pang of regret as she watched Abigail's happiness from afar, realizing that true joy came not from riches, but from the love and respect she had with Uche. She eventually left her unhappy marriage and began to focus on herself, discovering her own strengths and talents. And so, Abigail and Uche lived happily ever after. They had 2 beautiful children of their own. Their home was filled with the same love and laughter that had once filled Abigail's childhood. They proved that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the values we hold dear and the kindness we show to others. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video for more amazing stories.